Okay. Did it let me go in that time? Yep. Okay, looks like I'm working. Whew. Small panic there. Hey, Lauren, good to see you. Peachy, there, here as always. Good to see you as well. Lauren, I think this might be your first time in stream. If not, it's the first time you commented. Annie, welcome. Good to see you there too. Grace Isis, good to see you. Halloween, good to see you. Hope everyone's having a good week. Oh, Lord, Peachy. Hey, Becky, good to see you made it. Jacob, hello. Jenny, hello. There's a bunch of people in here. Y'all just been waiting on me, ain't you? Usually it takes a while for people to drift in. Occult, good to see you again, buddy. Man. All right. I suspect I know why everybody's here so abundantly right now. Everybody's anxious for that drawing, aren't they? Well, we'll be getting to that. I do promise. I won't save it to the end. I know some of y'all have really, really late nights, and I appreciate you making it, so I won't hold you that long. Ms. Wheats, Tara, welcome. I hope I said that right. If not, I do apologize. John Day, welcome. I have had a very interesting week. As y'all know, the Dragon Magic 101 course went live Wednesday at midnight. So that has kept me very busy over on the Discord answering some really great questions. All the people who's been asking questions, you're doing great with the course, and I am loving the questions. Don't think I'm not. But also, the weekly challenge, I've been working on that, which for those of you who don't know, this week's weekly challenge was to create a meditation, a ritual, or spell work, or all three if you wanted, to manifest something tangible in your physical reality, some sort of change. And I believe I said it last week before we logged off that mine was actually going to be in the weight department. And I've been working with that. And I can actually say, I decided that my normal healthy habits I'd set aside for 1 week and lean only on magic. Now, normally, if I did that without the magic, I wouldn't even level out. My weight would go up, period. End of story. But I am happy to say this week I went down 8 pounds still. So I'm actually going to continue to do the spell work and everything that I was working on, which actually, I won't lie, I cheesed it. I went as corny as you could. Everyone talks about how potions are fantasy and that's Harry Potter. And that's actually the direction I went. I went into charging a liquid, which I actually went with mint tea because of its health benefits and everything. And I charged it specifically for healthy weight loss. And I'd make up a big batch of that, and I'd drink a couple glasses a day. And that's all I did. Otherwise, I was eating pizza and other kinds of crap, even subs one day. So I have to say mine was a huge success, and I hope everyone who participated, it was a huge success. And again, over in the Discord, which there should be a link below, if you're not already on the Discord, we do have a weekly challenge chat room where you can share your experiences if you want, or you can just come in and cut up and goof around with the rest of us. So that was really cool for me. So my plan is I'm going to keep doing that, but I'm also going to incorporate my healthy habits back in. So for those of you who are probably wanting to jump through the computer and say you shouldn't give up your healthy habits, don't worry. Experiment only. Healthy habits are coming back. There's no, what? 1 week there's a link. Next week there's no link. Okay, it won't give me links until after the thing. All right. Crap. Thanks, Occult. You know me and computers, we don't get along. Let me see if I can. I got the link saved here. I can get that for y'all. I think. Yeah, I found it. All right, where is it? Let's make sure I actually get the right link this time. I remember that. Ended up filling what the bloody. That ain't right. Hold on. Crud. Okay, I think I got it. All right, let's hope this shows up. All right, I'm seeing it on my side. I hope y'all are seeing it. That's the Discord link. Just pop in there and there'll be someone around at some point, sometime. I can't swear I'll always be able to answer because I am a busy person. But I am there most of the time. So, yeah. Other than that, my work this week was definitely, I spent the week working with Norse magic. Stepped away from dragon magic a little bit because I am wanting to do more Norse videos. I got a grouping of Norse videos that I wanted to do, and I had planned late last year, but you all made it abundantly clear that there was no info out there. So I wanted to try and get a good solid base of information for dragon magic. And I made that my priority, which you all seem to have highly enjoyed, and I enjoyed making it. Don't get me wrong. I love working with the dragons. So that was a blast. But I'm trying to do something. I started it this week working with the Norse that I haven't done before. I've always been interested in Norse magic and the archaeological side of Norse culture, which if you start researching the two, you'll see that they're drastically separated. So I've actually been researching up on the archaeological side and taking that to ritual and approaching the Norse gods and the runes to find out where the overlap is and how you can actually work the two together. Which I'm getting some pretty interesting gnosis on that. I still need to take a lot of it and meditate on it some and really try and figure it out fully. It's a deep subject, so obviously 1 week's not enough to really go in on. Yeah, that's been the bulk of my week. So I mean, it's been fun. Of course, well, we've had a few storms and stuff, so you know, power blinked a few times on me. So, uh, seems like there was something else I was wanting to tell you all, but I actually think that might be the bulk of my research this week. Um, we are working with the final elemental ruler to get that particular piece of artwork done. Jacob, that oh man, you're gonna get me in trouble, man. Uh, hmm. You know, out of my favorites, it's really a tie, and the tie is Odin and Freya, and that's because of their love of knowledge and magic, and they both love to just sit and talk about those things. Um, and at the same time, as Queen of the Valkyries and a goddess of battle, which is something Freya don't get enough credit for, but y'all heard me complain about that before. Um, I don't know. She's just someone I can really relate to. Even though I'm not a cat person, but my wife loves cats, so that kind of helps out. But no, I'd say those are my two favorite to work with. Those are the two I go to the most. Third place actually would have to go to Hell. I love working with Hell. When I first started working with her, I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did. But she also showed me that there's sides of her, and she's actually one of the ones who sent me more to like the Codex Regius and the Poetic Edis more than the Prose Edis, because the older writings of the Norse underworld couldn't be more different. So yeah, she's a fascinating goddess. And I've actually considered doing an actual series on her. I know during Samhain I did that quick video introduction of Hell, but I'm actually considering possibly doing a video series on her. Oh Lord. All right, Peachy, let's take a few questions before the drawing. What do you got for me? What are my thoughts on frost giants? Of the Jotuns I've worked with, I actually have to say I enjoyed working with them. And I did spend some time path working through Jotunheim. Uh, they definitely do come across a bit more primal than the Azure and the Vanir in a lot of ways. But beyond that, I really didn't notice too much difference between them, which actually threw me off originally, because to my understanding, the Frost Giants were a drastically different people. But um, over the last year or so, I've been doing research, and there's actually nothing in the lore that separates them. They're more just another tribe. So it was kind of interesting to see that mesh up with what I was finding during my path workings, because I I really thought I was losing my mind, because everybody does expect them to be very, very specific. They do definitely seem to have a bit more elemental attunement, but that's not to be. I mean, plenty of the Azure and Vanir have elemental attunements as well, so that's not that unexpected. Um, Now, I will say this: working with them, they don't seem to take things easy in small measures. If you want to work with them, it's kind of all in or not at all. I haven't met one that is very easy going. So they're very much, if there's a job to do, you just get there, you dive in, you do the work, and you get it done. And they don't really seem to be ones to call a lunch break or a coffee break. Which I'll admit, lack of coffee breaks broke my heart. But now, as far as getting things done, man, they can accomplish it quick. You just got to be ready to hold on to those reins and just go. Does that answer the question? I did the best I could with the way you phrased it. Um, I see that a lot of places, and now you'll notice during the interview, I didn't say aspire to become a dragon. We were talking about masks and shape shifting, which is completely different. Um, Now there have been people that think that ascension to something like that is a potential possibility. I personally can't say it's not. Um, though the dragons haven't also given me anything to say it is possible. In fact, everything they've said seems to be they're more focused on human beings ascending to their own place of power, not like moving over to there. Um, so, in the concept of the mask, you can take on that form and you can harness that power and you can utilize it in the through the planes for a short time, or even utilize it to create change in the physical realm by embodying that power in that form. Like I was saying, with the scales during the interview, it's not like I'm literally becoming a dragon, but it is that draconic energy allowing me to shapeshift enough that the scales were there, and then I was able to utilize them for magic. So, and that's one of those things where you don't hear me talk too much about it because people automatically jump into I can become a dragon. And you all know my practice is more results and based and everything. So until I have more proof and data, I try not to jump into any boats. But yeah, it is definitely a fascinating practice and quite useful. Red Star, got my Oh, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the quality of those. They get printed out. I mean, you can actually see the Zephyr Seal print recently came in. I'm planning to do a video on him shortly, but yeah, those are coming out gorgeous. I love them. As far as consecrating it, just do the Dragon's Flame ritual and focus it all right on there. Perfect. That's all you need to do. That ritual will charge and consecrate it for you. Catherine, the Halling. No problem, Catherine. Take it easy. I'll be posting who wins, so if you do win the drawing, it'll also be posted in the community tab. Sorry about the lag. I'm actually working pretty good today, surprisingly. Uh, yeah, there are. There are people who do. And I generally try not to knock people because you never know. I've seen enough in my practice. There's been plenty where it's like I thought things weren't possible, and wasn't long after I found out, nope, that's possible. Look at that crap. Um, so even though I do take a results based practice, I also try to approach everything with an open mind. Um, Even if I can't get it to work, that doesn't mean someone else hasn't found a way to get it to work. So at this point in time, I can't say I've ever met anyone who I could validate that. But yeah, there are plenty of practitioners who do have that view and believe that, and that's perfectly groovy. I mean, their practice is their practice, their path is their path. And y'all know if your path is giving you the results you want, I love it. More power to you. Keep on rocking it. Red Star, the Dragon Magic class is live at workingdragonmystic.com. Just click online classes. It's actually a video course, completely laid out all videos. I actually recorded the class that I would teach my students. So yeah, it's still going. You just pop over there and enroll. I know there's at least two, maybe three students who's already taken it in the chat here, so they can tell you it's they've enjoyed it. Yes, it is possible to have magic tattoos. I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a few. And you got two ways to go about it. You can either charge them during the process or after. If you're charging them during the process, I recommend either A, you truly, truly trust your tattoo artist, or you're really, really good at shielding. Yeah, well, Peachy beat me to that. Halloween beat me to that. Okay. Yeah, $30. And for those who do enroll in the school, there is also if you're on the Discord, there's actually a Working Dragon Mystic class chat tab that's set aside for just school people for all the school questions. I wanted to try and make sure to have a way that if there's, because you can't plan for every possible question. So I wanted to make sure I had a way to answer questions and help out as much as possible. And I do check Discord daily. That I will say. I may not be on it 24/7, though some days it feels like it, mostly when editing. But I do check it daily, and I'm on there quite a bit every day. So I'm not too hard to get a hold of. Well, that's usually because I get the coffee started, and then I start checking Discord and emails and stuff like that while it's making. Although I'm still waiting for me to like send the wrong email to somebody because of that. So I try not to actually send anything until the coffee's done. But I do comment on Discord, and there's a couple people who's called me out on it because my typing was so bad. They're like, "Are you drunk or have you not had your coffee?" Yeah, no, it's not day drinking. I just need coffee. Okay, so who wants to go ahead and get this drawing done? Because if Peachy like threatened me and said she had a page of questions or something. Okay, so we did actually have quite a few, as you all can see. There's a lot of paper up in my hat. So I'm going to mix it up real good, and I'm actually going to put the bandana back on it. Social distancing and all, don't you know? We're going to draw one name. And good luck to everyone. And by the way, thank you for the awesome comments the last few weeks. I like to believe they were from the heart and not just to get in the contest. So let's see who we got. It would help if I could read my own handwriting, wouldn't it? Ambient Tarot. No, that's not a witch hat. That's my normal hat that you all see me in. I didn't think that many pieces of paper would fit in it because it has such a low crown, but they did. So let's see. Ambient Tarot. I'm going to guess they're not in here. Congratulations. I'll be posting this in the community tab after the stream. And I'm going to give you 1 week to get back with me. And then we'll set up and schedule the free consultation. And for those who messaged me asking me if I was going to take Linda's idea to give away the coffee mug, I am. I'm just trying to figure out what we're going to do for it. Okay? And I know Linda said autograph it, but I don't think I'm going to autograph it because it's got to go in a dishwasher, you know? So I may put like a personalized note or something and sign that. I mean, my handwriting sucks. I don't know why you'd all want that anyway. But I need to hang on to these just in case they decide they don't want their consultation. See, my normal hat. So we will hang on to these just in case. And again, Ambient Tarot, congratulations. No, nope. I was about to say we don't have a witch hat in the house, but I think my wife does have 2 of them, actually, now that I think about it. She has one that's all black with feathers on it, which sounds weird, but it actually looks freaking awesome. And then she has one that's trimmed in it's a nice deep green, but I tend to want to call it like a dark Slytherin green is what I want to call it. But hey, Ross, good to see you. And there was a T on there. Didn't come out well. Last question, really? You made me think you had a big old piece of paper. Now I'm already on the last one. All right, hit me with it. Let's see. Last question. What is dreamscaping? That's one of those terms that gets used in a lot of different ways, Peachy. Now, I was always taught and trained that dreamscaping is the ability to actively walk and control and work within the dreamscape, which is essentially where dreams happen. Some people also consider all forms of dream work as a form of dreamscaping. So, but dream work is not outside using soul travel to pop into people's dreams. I don't really do a lot of dream work unless specific path workings I'm doing calls for it. I probably should. I really probably should do it more. But I like to have active control over what's happening in my rituals and my work. And first off, it's hard for me. I don't really dream. So that makes it kind of hard. But But if I do get it to trigger, I'm not real good at being able to maintain the control of it. So it's more of just like a uncontrolled random vision kind of thing. Which I can't. I mean, I get results when it happens, and it's kind of handy, but it's not one of my preferred methods. Granted, I would be better at it if I spent more time practicing with it. So let's be honest, the biggest downside I have to it is my own personal just lack of. I haven't practiced. What can be dangerous? Dreamscaping or dream work? Uh, I've never heard it referred to as dangerous. Oh, I don't mess with their dreams. No, I don't mess with their dreams. Like a good example is I will use soul travel to pop into my wife's dreams to communicate with her while she's away from home, that kind of thing, or friends I know. Um, which even then it's hit or miss because they got to be dreaming for you to pop in. So, but I don't mess with the dream at all. I think the worst thing that's ever happened to me is someone was dreaming that they were driving a locomotive, and when I popped into the dream, I just happened to be standing on the tracks. I didn't get hurt, scared the hell out of me, but didn't get hurt. But yeah, as a general rule of thumb, I kind of make it a point not to screw with someone else's dreams. Uh, that's there's a lot of different ways to do it, and it's a really huge topic. Um, and I am wanting to actually get a video on shadow work out. One of the easier ways to get started, um, Christopher Pencak has it in his book, Shamanic Witchcraft. And it's a long process, but it starts with journaling, literally just pouring out your fears, your anger, um, your doubts, all that crap into a journal. And while you're writing it, you actually want to feel the emotion that you're writing. You want to fully experience it. And that's what's the hard part. Because when we're talking about our fears and all these things that scare us, the panic attacks, anxieties, and all these things, in order to process them and pour them out, you have to experience them on some level. So it can be physically and emotionally taxing on the person to do it. And that's one reason the journaling is a great place to start, because it's a very easy, controllable method, where other forms of shadow work just kind of throw you into the deep end of the pool. But yeah, if you're interested in shadow work, I would start there. Other methods are definitely through trance work, where you actually dive into yourself and you would actually seek out to confront your shadow. You can also work with things like the underworld. A lot of your underworld workings deal with facing your fears and stuff, or find an entity that you are willing to work with. Now, there's going to be some minor shadow workings that we're going to be starting in. Well, it definitely the shadow work will be in the 103, but in the 102 course, some of the dragons you're going to work with are going to help you work through some of those things that are normally worked through in shadow work, but it'll be in a gentler way. So it's kind of a prep for shadow work, if that makes sense. The dreamer, Santa Smurf. The dreamer is in control of the dream and themselves. So unless you impose your will over the dreamer itself, yes, they're in control. But the dreamer is not in control of what you do with you. So you are a separate thing in the dream. They can, I mean, it can get, once they realize it, if they want to, they can warp the world around you in crazy ways. That's one reason I only do it with friends. Of course, my friends have done some horrible things to me in their dreams just because they thought it was funny, but that's my friends. Uh, Depends on what you mean by shadow entities. I mean, because that word gets a lot of negative connotations to it, but there's a lot of entities that just work in shadows and darkness that aren't necessarily bad entities. Um, and honestly, they're quite helpful. And well, when you're talking about shadow people, again, you run into the same thing. There's what people call shadow people, I've really noticed can really be almost any kind of entity. It's just like out of your peripheral. It's like looking at a curtain. Someone on the other side, there's a silhouette. You can't really see who or what it is, but you can see them. So, what people call shadow people is usually just you breaking up and seeing that veil just enough to make that outline. Um, so, it can be anything from spirits, entities, you name it. Um, Now, that said, the negative effects and the more aggressive shadow people, in my experience, those tend to be spirits of human beings who are pissed off. They were nasty humans and they're nasty in death as well. That's been my experience. But I am hoping to, at some point in my career, to get to do more research specifically on those. Someone, I don't know how accurate this is, but somebody told me D.H. Thorne actually has done, or is doing research in that exact topic and how to use it for magic. So, yeah, it's D.H. Thorne. I just don't know exactly what it is. I haven't had a chance to look it up or read it yet. Thanks, William. I'm trying to get the information out as best I can for you all. And I want to, and we are getting, we're going to go back and I'm already filming some of the modern magic videos that y'all's been requesting. And the classes are still coming. So before anybody panics me on that, no, I'm still working on the classes. Yeah, the better the connection you have with the person, definitely the easier and stronger the magic will work. Hey, Mathis, good to see you, man. Better late than never. Good night, occult man. Hey, if you can, shoot me a message on Discord sometime, occult, and let me know what time Eastern time would be like afternoon or evening for you, because I'm considering another stream where it's going to be more time oriented for our friends across the water. But yeah, just shoot me that message because I'm trying to do the math on that and I'm trying to figure out if it's going to be logistically possible. But I am wanting to do it because I got a lot of people across the water and I know these live streams are late for y'all. So I'm going to try. Heck, I may do them both in one day. You never know. Yeah, everyone is stuck at home. I have noticed my emails and messages have increased. I actually had one person email me because, as they put it, they've been binge watching my videos. They thanked me for them because I have been their source of entertainment. They complimented my voice. And since they were done watching a playlist and got bored, they decided they would ask me questions. Is that too timing? Definitely keep me busy. I don't know if it counts as two timing. Sounds good, Occult. Get some sleep, man. So, but the Dragon Magic 101 class, I should say my co-magician sat down and did the math. My math didn't come out quite accurate. His came out better. But if you were to work through it and do every ritual in that class, all of it, it would take you about 6 months to get through that class. That's for the 101. Now, grant you, there is a section that you can move on if it's quasi optional. So, but that said, I'm not in a super hurry to get the 102 live because it's been my experience. If I throw it up there, people's going to try and rush through the material, and I want you guys to get this material down good for those who are taking the class. So, though we are actually outlining a Norse magic class right now, and I'm trying to decide if I want to break it up into a seed magic or satyr magic and a rune magic class, or if I just want to kind of roll it all in one. Because satyr or seed magic, depending on your pronunciation of it, I mean, it's a fascinating topic, but I'm trying to decide if there's enough to actually push a whole class on. So I'm trying to balance that out a little bit. Are we talking, what level of occult are we talking? Because that's kind of the big thing. And it also depends on what you're interested in. For beginners, I always recommend, I know y'all's tired of hearing me say it, Christopher Pencak's Temple of Witchcraft series. Even if you're not into Wicca, his approach and his look at magic, he really goes into the nuts and bolts of it. And he gives you a broad view. So no matter what path you're looking at or want to do, you can really learn a lot from his series. And he even goes into shamanism and high magic. And then he gives recommended reading. So that's really a great place to start. I also recommend Modern Magic, which is a ceremonial magic book, but it is a fascinatingly well-written book. Herbs, I really like Scott Cunningham's works on herbs and oils. I really do. I've enjoyed his books on those. Now, if you're looking for more summoning and evocation, I do, in all my videos, I usually have the books I recommend or get the most questions about listed. And you'll find there's one book called 72 Angels of Magic and one called Demons of Magic. And I know a lot of magicians don't like these books because they don't agree with them because they've been brought up to date, but the magic and the systems are extremely functional and very approachable for beginners. So currently that's it in a nutshell. But those books, like just the Pencak books, will give you a really good starting foundation on the functions of magic. And then from there, it's, you know, because if you're a green witch, I'm not going to be able to recommend good books for you. For those who like gardening and stuff, I'm not a gardener. I grew up on a farm, and as soon as I got away from it, I didn't want to grow nothing else. And my wife, we've said she has a blighted thumb. She can kill mint, which is a weed. People told me you can't kill it. She can. So yeah. For left hand path, honestly, for anyone who looking at left hand path, I tell them to read anything you can and everything you can. And really, we all should do this and process it and consider it and see if it works for you. But that said, I really do love Asenath Mason's writing style. I've been getting more and more of her books over the last couple years, though they're kind of hard to find and sometimes freaking expensive. Right off the top of my head, hers is the one that's jumping out at me. Could be because I've had to work with her books more recently. But we are getting a lot more left-hand path authors coming out, so that's kind of nice. Jacob, it will take a PayPal. I don't know if PayPal requires cards or not. I don't really know how PayPal works super well. Yeah, it still requires a card. I don't know. You got me on that one, Jacob. Because practically every payment method I use other than cash goes through a card. I don't take checks anymore, and that's because when I first started teaching, 10 pagans wrote 10 checks, and all 10 checks bounced. And I was just left holding the fees. I've not read that one yet, William. I may have to check that one out. I know it's surprising. People's like, wait, you read starter books? It's like, yeah, I like to know books I can recommend. Peach. Well, you can use general astral shape shifting to do the wing thing. For me, why? I don't know. It's just one of the things that during those meditations it happened, which actually I've had another student mention like the very first time they did the meditation, something similar happened. So um and you can always, shape shift your astral body back. I just never did. Um as to whether there was an actual specific purpose, I don't know. I really didn't think to ask. But it is, at least to my understanding, that a large part of it was the amount of draconic energy that I was harnessing at the time. So, depending on how sensitive you are to energy, it could happen at different times for different people. Yeah. Yep. Like your eye thing you told me about. Mathis, the perfect purpose of the staff or any of the dragon magic tools for that matter. It's actually to help anchor and balance the energies we're working with because they are very raw and very primal. And starting out, that can be helpful, um, especially as you approach the higher elements. That's really where the staff shines, is when you start working with those higher elements. But it also can help in the lower elements because you do have people that are more sensitive to certain energies. Um, so those energies can take a larger toll. And if the staff is there, it kind of helps anchor ground and balance it out and makes it a little easier to navigate those energies as you build up your familiarity with them. So, like, if you're an emotional person naturally, confronting the ruler of water can become an extremely emotional experience. But your staff can actually help kind of balance that out and anchor you and help you keep a check on your emotions so you don't break down. Um, and let's say if people who's got a short fuse, it does the same thing for them if they're working with, say, like the fire dragon. Or for lazy people, it also keeps them from coming uber lazy when they're working with earth dragons. And Peachy has that point of view. See, there you go. Halloween's a perfect example of someone who's very sensitive to energy and first time they did the meditation. So, and see, I don't shift a lot without I'm so will focused and stubborn. I do not naturally shift. So it takes a lot to get me to shift without me wanting to do it, which is probably why it took so long for such a thing to happen. Um, at least for me. So it's going to be a different experience for everybody. They're talking about the Dragon's Fire meditation in the class. I think I hope I'm thinking the right meditation. Yeah, that's the one. Um, Halloween's talking about. William, that is a fantastic idea. I've seen one like that, and it's freaking awesome. And if I actually had some reasonable skill at wood carving, I'd probably do the same thing. So yeah, if once you get that done, shoot me a picture in the Discord, man. I'd love to see it. If you're okay sending a picture, you don't have to, obviously. Please don't have a meltdown. I will say this: if you do find yourself overly emotional while working with a dragon, generally it's best to just let it flow. Just let it out, get it out, have your cry. And guys, it goes for you too. If you fall down, you get emotional, you start crying, don't hold it back, just let it out. That's the healthiest thing you can do. Okay, William, do I know you from somewhere else? Yeah, Cora will definitely like totally hug it out with you on that. Oh, that explains a lot. Thank you. Totally explains a lot. I was getting confused. There you go. Yeah, Halloween's looking for hazel staffs. And I have not been able to turn up anything. I actually know a redneck that does some woodworking. I'm going to try and get him on the phone if I can. If he has hazel on hand, I might be able to get that for a case of beer off of him. Take it easy, Jacob. Thank you for joining us. Well, that'd be one way to get your staff. And you can definitely say you earned that one. Let's see. But yeah, the staff's main purpose is to help anchor and balance out those energies. Um, and the longer you work, you will find you don't necessarily need the staff as much just to balance them, but it also really helps. It also does amplify and focus energy a bit more, which is helpful. Other than the general shapeshifting, I've never seen anything that is like permanent dragon turning ascension. Um, which grant you that one big giant ritual that I've been banging my head against the wall for a month on and finally got to work that put me in direct contact with the dragon and the dragoness. I'm still working with them. So if maybe they have that secret, I don't know. uh, William, teas after a long day. If I have to sleep, my go-to teas are mint and mugwort. Though mugwort is really powerful for inducing visions, so I tend to use it more for trance work and stuff like that. But it does also make you sleepy, so it works. Um, Now, for just relaxing and unwinding, most tea drinkers are going to hate me for this. I know. Because I keep whole leaf tea in the house. I really do. It's usually green tea. But for end of the day unwinding, I like Bigelow's Earl Grey or Bigelow's Constant Comments. Those are my unwinding teas. If I'm drinking tea, because, well, Annie's right. More often than not, I'm drinking coffee. I can down a pot of coffee and go to bed and actually fall asleep. So, but yeah, for teas, those would be the ones I unwind with. Oh no. Also add oolong to that list. Whenever I can get a nice whole leaf oolong, I love that stuff. A lot of people enjoy Earl Grey. It seems to be a pretty popular one. My wife enjoys the Lady Grey tea a bit more. So I constantly send her packages when she's away that has it in there. I'll have to try it. I've used valerian root for when I had insomnia. It never did squat for my insomnia, but I've never used it for just to drink as a tea. I will say I like rose hips a lot. Yeah, yeah, my blood type's dark roast. See, I can't drink chamomile tea. It doesn't have a lot of flavor for me. Um, and that could be all the spicy food I eat and all the coffee I drink, and I drink really strong coffee, so it's just too mild. And everybody says it's relaxing, and it's never calmed me down. I think I'm wired wrong because if it's supposed to calm me down, it don't seem to do it. It seems to frustrate me more than anything. And people say coffee, winds you real tight, but yet give me a cup of coffee and I can totally relax. Hey, Stacy, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. We're talking favorite teas and coffee. No. Um, that's if anything, one of my problems is I'm too focused. Okay, that sounds really good. Where do you buy that? Rose hip and raspberry. I love raspberry. I'm not really one for herbal teas a lot of times, but I will admit that one sounds good. Uh, right now I got plenty of coffee. I just received like 4 pounds in the mail, and I got a subscription to Death Wish, and they just shipped me another pound. So I'm pretty good on coffee for the moment. Though I might take you up on that, especially when the wife gets home, because she doesn't like chicory coffee. Because somebody at work bought some, and the way she describes the flavor, it's just like I can't help it. Either the person got really, really crappy coffee, or they did something to screw it up. And I can't prove that if I don't expose her to some good coffee that I know's good and chicory styled. And I basically gonna have to sneak it into her cup. If I don't tell her what it is, she'll drink it, and then we can find out if she likes it. Uh, in my house, it's usually stuck right there in the corner. Actually, you'll notice I got two staffs currently stuck up in the corner there. Um, I don't really do the whole sacred thing. Y'all would laugh at me because I've actually just taken my staff and thrown it before. I'll throw it in the corner, throw it on the floor. It's just I'm very much a practical, functional individual. I do take care of it, and I keep it where it's not going to get broke or trip somebody or anything like that. But yeah, for storage, I usually just stick it in the corner. Um, what was it? The other day, I actually had it. I actually was using it to dig things out from under the bed. Or do you mean how do I use it, or do you mean just storage? Because that's literally I just stick it wherever I can put it for the time being. I've been doing a lot of work here in the office, so it's been in the office um, because I was filming the class. So Once I start doing more work back in the ritual room, it'll gravitate its way back there. What's my favorite element to work with? Ooh, that's hard. I'm not real sure. Huh. I jump between them so much, I've never really stopped to think about it. I mean, y'all asked me about which ruler I prefer to work with, but element directly. It's going to sound crazy, but it's a tie between Maelstrom and Chaos as far as favorite one to just work with. And that's because I really enjoy the intensity and growth. I know it's hard to get through some of that stuff. I know it can be direct, it can cause a whole shit show in your life. But I don't know. There's just something about the intensity of it. I guess it's the adrenaline junkie in me, or maybe it's just because I'm stupid. But those do really tend to be my favorite. I love to dive in and see what happens. My staff just has a no touchy rule for some people. That's all. Will, the summoning charm, is that a question or a statement? Stacy, that's oh. um it is like a very high caffeine coffee. Now I've been drinking coffee since I was 3, so me and my wife, we can drink it as our daily go-to, and it doesn't really my doctor's never shown any health effects on it, and believe me, he's taken blood and stress tests because he wants me to cut back. That said, there are people who are sensitive to caffeine for different medical reasons or just general sensitivity. And so, for that reason, if you're one of those people, I wouldn't recommend it because it is such a high caffeine. Like, I recently actually sent coffee to my mom. She likes dark roast coffee, and I want, since she can't go out to the store, I used it as a reason to expose her to the coffees I drink. Now, one of my favorite from Iron Bean is Skulls of My Enemy because she is sensitive to caffeine and she is getting up there in years. And she's also a bad smoker. So I wasn't really sure how it affected her. So yeah, I did actually avoid Death Wish for that particular one. But beyond that, I've never heard of any dangers with it because it's not like some of these that are so crazy high that they taste nasty. Because there are some coffees that technically they're higher in caffeine than Death Wish, but they're not naturally caffeinated, so they really taste like chemicals. Seriously, I tried one and it tastes like turpentine. Um, but yeah, it's just one of those things. I just know your own personal preference in coffee, and what your body can take because you can also cut back how much coffee you brew with, or you can increase it because we had a coffee pot that would actually grind the coffee for us. And if you followed its instructions, basically you're supposed to put it on one number per cup. So for a 12 pot, you're supposed to set it to 12. We did that one time with Death Wish. We could see sound. We don't do that unless we've just not slept in like 72 hours and we still have a busy day coming. Well, coffee magic, I love. I do coffee magic a lot. I do read coffee grounds as divinations. I've been tinkering with that for years. I use coffee for a lot of my offerings. Most entities adore coffee as an offering, which is pretty cool. And I do use it for a lot of my earth magic. So yeah, I actually did a video on coffee magic. Yeah, my magical tools, it's a tool. To me, it is a tool like a hammer. So yeah, if I need to reach something and I ain't quite got the reach, I will use my staff if I have to. I know a lot of people put their magical tools like on a sacred style position, and that's groovy. It's just it's not me. I'm a very functional individual. So my tools have to also have that same function. No problem, you made it. Bormaldus. I'm trying to get the names here, people. I'm trying. Halloween, you're coffee sensitive or caffeine sensitive? Oh, well, if you can't drink base coffee, stay away from Death Wish. You won't sleep for a week. Yeah, I've actually heard a lot of people say that. If you could easily say I know what blue tastes like because you freaking oh my god, that day was just insane. And it was bad enough how I felt, but I couldn't help but laugh at my wife because she's a hyper person in general. But that day, I mean, literally, she couldn't sit still. You could have handed her heavy cream and just had her hold it, and in 5 minutes, you would have had butter. Cool. I got one right. Yay. Normally, my Southern throws everything off, so I'm happy I got one right. Okay, well, I can promise that. No, I will not do that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not that practical. Which actually, that's not a practical solution to that problem. So, but yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. But no, I have. If I go hiking, I will take my staff and I'll use it as a standard hiking staff. And I've used it as a an actual lever several times when we was out in the woods. Which is again why I went with waxwood because I knew I would do something like that, and I needed something durable. So yeah, I took my own personality and stupidity into consideration when I picked the wood for my staff. See, I would actually have to say my staff would probably throw a fit if I tried to stick it in a great big pile of poo. I really do. I don't. Me and my staff have never had a disagreement, but I'm pretty sure at that point we would. So yeah. No, I'm practical, but I'm also I try to be a clean person. So yeah, I couldn't see me doing that, not with my staff. Yeah. Well, the mischief is welcomed. Pop in Sunday on the magical coffee hour and watch Linda torture me. This week should be interesting because I think she said dreams is what she wants to do the topic on. Lord only knows where that's going to go. Knowing Linda, we might actually have to flag that one as for adults. First video ever. Can't watch this. It really is. She is caffeine and chaos. And she totally brings the chaos. I mean, for those on Discord, you heard me complaining. I did not enjoy doing that podcast solo without her. It just wasn't the same. Oh, Lord. Oh. Okay, before we did that one, I'd have to check the YouTube guidelines. And I'd have to get her a copy. Keep your question in this. That would be crazy. Actually, I'm trying to figure out if there would, because that is an important topic in magic that's really hard to touch on. I'm wondering if there would be a way to do that. I'm gonna have to consider that. Half a month. Yeah, have a reminder right next to. She's pretty good. She is. I think both of us skirt a line more in our fair amount of times there. So yeah. All right. Any more questions? Yeah. Halloween, it really is a thing. There's an entire category of magic built around using that energy. Well, it's the YouTube guidelines is what I'm wondering about when I say doing the video. But I think it would be possible to present that within the guidelines. I do. Though I would be combating both my fear of cameras and watching how easy it is to embarrass me at the same time. So, but yeah, I'm going to look into that some more for y'all because that is a large category of magic and there's not really a lot of info out there. And that bothers me because I've also seen that category and its lack of info be utilized for manipulating people, let's say. And I'm not down with that. I'm not down with that at all. Stacy, mischief should never be fully managed. You should always be ready to jump on that chaos train. That's how me and my wife we get along. We always got mischief up our sleeve. Well, heck, she works with Loki and has a tattoo that says "Daughter of Loki." So, yeah, she's a walking ball of mischief. But you got to have the mischief. It keeps life fun. Well, for all those who didn't see Magical Coffee Hour, Linda challenged everybody to get this channel to 1,500 by the end of the month. And I said, if it happens, I will actually release the blooper reel from me recording the Dragon Magic course. Which luckily wouldn't be a long blooper reel, but there's some pretty bad things in there. Well, not bad, but hilariously embarrassing. But Halloween's right. If I actually tried to film that, oh Lord, the outtakes of that video would be hilarious. So, but it is something we're considering looking at, and I just want to make sure it's done well and in a way that I can present it without having to worry. And yeah, well, every time Linda challenges you all to something, y'all tend to rise to the occasion. So I've actually already been pulling the bloopers and getting them ready because I actually kind of expect you all to do it. So, which would be great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's going to be embarrassing to release that video, but what the hell? Wouldn't be the first time I've embarrassed myself. Besides, if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at? William, that is the $1,000,000 question in and of itself. So, I personally can't complain too much. I mean, this platform's done really well by me so far. So, I mean, last year's stuff worried me, but so far they've done well by me. But that's about the best I can say. And they've definitely given me the tools to be able to reach out and, communicate with everyone. So that's been great. Oh, well, yeah, that would suck. You got a point there. Let's not do that because then I got to start all over. And I just figured out how to work this platform. Oh, that's sweet of you. Thank you. Well, that'd be the trick is finding the platform, though, because I really don't know of anything else like YouTube. Well, I guess worst case scenario, I'll pop over to Twitter and just do everything live. Because Twitter was the only complaint I had with Twitter was it wasn't sending out notifications. As far as going live and stuff, it was so handy because I could just pull up my phone and push a button, and that's if I was to take a vacation and I couldn't get videos out, my plan was to let you all know ahead of time so that we just pop up on Twitter, but it wasn't sending out notifications. And then I figured out how to do this. Hold on. I swear my neighbors wait until I'm live to knock. Okay. If you want to know how to get rid of neighbors quick, just tell them you're streaming live. So if they want to talk about anything, they have to tell it to a global audience. And they're gone. Yeah, Will, we did try Twitch. Actually, Magical Coffee Hour started over there. They weren't sending notifications. I had people subscribe to both me and Linda's channel, and they never got notifications. Well, yeah. I actually had a Kirby salesman come to my house the other day. It's like, this is the complete opposite of what we're supposed to be doing right now. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, that is actually the print for Zephyr Seal back there. It came in this week. I was trying to order prints to make sure they looked good before I told everyone about them. But they've been coming in such quality that the first 3 rulers, you can already get the canvases at the just go to workingdragonmystic.com and click on the merch. You can already buy the prints there, and by request, Mathis. We do have coffee cups and t-shirts now too. So yeah. And I'll be giving a better look of it at when I do the video for Zephyr Seal. I forgot it was back there. Yeah, Kirby Salesman sucks. I done it myself in a pinch, and I was good at it, but definitely not a career choice I would stick with. PG-13, what? At least it doesn't blow. It's a vacuum cleaner. They knock on your door. They offer to do a cleaning demo for you. And it sounds great. It sounds like, you're going to trick them into cleaning your living room. But they end up only cleaning like one section of your carpet, and then your house looks worse. I mean, it works, but at the same time, I can say as someone who sold them, I've put them up against other vacuums that I can get at Walmart for cheaper. And yeah, it's not worth the price tag. That and they weigh like 50 freaking pounds. Making me laugh is fine. Just no shooting coffee out my nose. That's just not nice. I didn't like it. I was good at it, but I didn't like it. Well, I see what the streaming room's goals are now. Oh, Will, you're talking about the class, aren't you? I was like, what? Took me a minute. I'm thinking live stream. Then I was like, huh? I had a brain fart there. 30 minutes or $30 per section? Because $30 per section is crazy. I mean, each class will be. I mean, each of the classes will be $30, but that first class had what was it, 5 sections in it? And really, the sections are just organizing the well, different sections, and some sections are admittedly quite larger. Thanks, William. My first goal is to upgrade the lighting equipment. Anyone who saw any of the cooking magic videos knows how badly we need better lighting equipment. Because I've got the office jury rigged pretty well. But if I have to shoot anywhere but the office, it just sucks. Yeah, I mean, seriously, because I don't know who designed my kitchen, but clearly my kitchen was designed to walk in, make soup, and never walk in it again. You're not meant to spend time in my kitchen. So, you know, William, knowing you, I'm afraid to ask how. So, actually, there's like no external light that gets into my kitchen. It is literally the darkest room in the house, and it also has the worst lighting. So, we have considered it. We have, but I'm actually looking at some softbox lights that are reasonable, and I think they're going to solve my problem, which is going to be great. So I can actually start shooting in more locations that way. And I mean, well, it's not going to help me for getting out in nature and stuff and shooting more outdoor videos, but At least it's going to allow me to move up more locations. I am looking at getting some kind of a outdoor camera, like a GoPro or something generic, just so I can go out and shoot some rituals out in the wilderness that I would do myself, and be able to share those with the people. Because I get questions about them all the time, but my camera, if it rains on my camera, it's dead. They probably do expect me to bring a lantern. Oh, that's sweet. Um, well, that's actually the reason we opened the Patreon. Pretty much everything from Patreon goes to equipment. Well, one thing I did consider is because Patreon, when I was setting it up, I saw like a one-time payment thing. And I was considering just like setting it up so that if somebody wants to do like a small $5 donation or something like that one time, it's not like signing on for Patreon. Setting it up so that they could do that. That way, if you just want to pitch $5 for, the equipment, you could do that, or $5 just to say, hey, thanks for your time, whatever. But all of that would go into the equipment and stuff because I love doing this. um, and I've been trying to run it as, budget friendly as I can because, right now you know, right now it's all coming out of my pocket straight up. We're not really making anything. So, which that's not the goal. The goal is to get this information out and share it. But at the same time, I do recognize certain problems. Like I would like to improve the audio and find a way to get rid of the jet noise, even though it can be fun to how many times do you hear a jet in a video? And of course the lighting and location problems. I can't control a remote control car. How am I going to control a drone? Well, actually, that might be actually one way I could get my wife to participate in videos. It's like, here, fly this. Of course, she's probably going to chase people around the neighborhood with it. Actually, I'm not sure drones are allowed around here because there's a base right over there. So I'm not exactly sure what drone rules are in this current area. I have to look that up, though. That's not a bad idea for some nature shots. But aren't those things more expensive than a camera? Camera first. Oh, thanks, guys. You guys are the best. I really do appreciate it. I mean, really, we've come a long way. We have. Because if you look at the first videos, it's just me in front of just the curtain and it's in an echoey room shot on my phone. So, and that was back when I still had glasses. So it's weird to queue up an old video and be like, wow, that's me. There's a few of the old ones I was like, I might want to reshoot that. If I could hire an assistant, I won't lie. The first thing I'm hiring is an editor. Anyone who has seen me in Discord knows that is my biggest thing. If I have a lot of editing to do, I hate my own voice. So yeah, if I can hire somebody first, it'll be an editor. Well, if they come in many prices, drone might be doable then. Okay, I'm not understanding them. So when you say Amazon wish list, just set it up so that the items I need's on there, or does it allow you to like donate money or something? I actually don't know how this stuff works, people. I'm technologically ignorant. I know somebody I can pay in tacos, and when he's in town, I do. All right, I'll look at setting up a something and see how it goes. I'll look into it. It never crossed my Patreon never crossed my mind until y'all made me do that. So Linda, I think I'm on Amazon enough. I think I can figure it out. I think that's one at least I can figure out. No, $38 ain't too steep. Like I said, I'm gonna have to check out the drone rules around here with the military base, but that's not a bad idea for camera shots. Huh. I'll definitely look into that. So anybody got any questions for me? Because right now y'all's giving me information. We flipped the script on this particular live stream. Hang on, let me write that down about that before I forget. I'm known to forget things. So yeah, I'll probably do both of those and set them up. Peachy has been around. Oh my god. I think Peachy showed up either like the second or third episode of Magical Coffee Hour. And I don't know if she found it through my YouTube videos or if she found it through Magical Coffee Hour and then found the videos. I don't know which way it went. But yeah, Peachy has been around pretty much since we started doing the podcast and the live streams for sure. So, no, you just sound like a fan. That's all. Believe me, I've seen stalkers. You're not a stalker. Well, that honestly, that'd be great. But Linda does not live near me. That's why we do the split stream. Otherwise, she might do that. Get into the watch list. No, I just added the Amazon thing because I get so busy. If I don't write shit down, I forget it. So, but yeah, no, these are all great suggestions, and I William, I'm definitely going to have to look into that drone one because that is interesting. Really, Peachy? I didn't realize that because we did the magical coffee hour for so long before I did the live streams on my own. That man, we've been doing that a while, haven't we? Crap. Yeah, it's really weird to see how far I came with this because I can't say I'm over my fear of cameras. I just say I handle it well. Well, the magical coffee hour was our first pursuit into live streaming. And my wife suggested Linda, and honestly, it was one of those things where I didn't even really know what I wanted to do, and she pitched the concept that we currently have. And if you watch the first few magical coffee hours, you can see I am basically sitting there stiff as a board waiting for questions. Really? The mead recipes? Awesome. Yeah, we actually unfortunately had the multi-berry mead files get corrupted on us. So I'm basically gonna have to restart that one if I do it again. But I am really glad that the basic simple mead is up there. But I think you're the first person who's mentioned the mead series. Yeah, I was actually looking at my video library the other day to try and find something. And I did not realize how many videos I've made. It's crazy. Mead is yummy. Mead is yummy. Oh, I've been using local honey. One of the things, this area is known for its local honey. So once we got here, I started looking into local honeys and tinkering around with some mead recipes with it. Well, that simple mead recipe that I shared, that's about as simple as it gets for your starter mead. Unless, well, the garage mead that I mentioned in the video that my buddy makes, I guess that would be simpler. But I'm still I'm still surprised that one comes out drinkable. So I say start with the simple mead. Yeah, space is an issue. If you get the little, what was it? It's like a 2 gallon fermenter that I used for that simple mead video. Honestly, you can just tuck them away in a closet. And I use those more for test batches because I experiment a lot, and I only use my 5 gallons for things I want to make a full batch of and bottle. But yeah, if and you can find those on Amazon. I think I even linked them in the videos. But the little 2 gallon ones are a lot easier to work with. A lot easier. My meat production's actually slowed down strictly on the fact that my kitchen's so small. So the 5 gallon fermenters are hard to use. Yeah, there's a difference between simple and cheap. And what I mean by that is the simple mead video, you can actually take a good quality honey and you can take that recipe and you can make awesome meads. The garage mead that my buddy makes, which is absolutely hilarious, he buys 2 jugs of water and empties one of them out. Then he pours his honey into the jug. And then he pours and puts any of his other ingredients like spices or seasonings if he's going to use them. And then he tops it off with water, puts the lid on, shakes it up really good. And once he's got it all shook up and mixed, he will take a balloon and put on the top, poke a hole in it with a thumbtack, and that's his fermenter. Um, and I've seen it produce some reasonable meads, but you can't control a lot of factors. I'm not getting into promises between friends. I don't take sides. For yeast, crap. I'm trying to remember the yeast I use. The yeast I used in that video for the simple mead, it is my go-to yeast for all meads. It can get you a good solid mead all around, and you can buy it off of Amazon. I'm wanting to say it's like 71B Lavalin yeast, I think. But check the video out. I talk about the yeast and show it, and you can get it on Amazon. And you can do a nice neutral mead or even a sweet mead with it. I have not tried to make mead in my sanctum. Uh, I actually have used bread yeast to make mead. It changes the flavor profile some, but you also can't. It can sometimes have a really high alcohol tolerance, so it can finish out really, really dry and put some funky flavors in there. That's the reason I actually started using an actual brewing yeast because we made one mead one time, and I mean, it came out clear. It was like oven cleaner. Ugh. It is doable though. Uh, Hit me up in the Discord if you don't find it in the video, and I will check my brewing journal, and I'll get you the yeast. I'm totally about sharing my home brewing. Take it easy, Santa man. Yeah. I mean, heck yeah. Just let me know how much you want for it. And well, send me a picture too, because I have one in the ritual room, but I've never seen one like it. So the odds of it being a duplicate would be hard. But so yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man. I really do. Hey, El Cheapo is sometimes the best way to go. It really is. Don't have to be expensive to work. In fact, my first chalice cost me less than $1 at the Goodwill. Sounds good. I'll actually grab a pic of mine too and share it in there after the stream. Heck yeah. Speaking of which, how long have we been chit chatting? Almost 2 hours. Okay. Cool. And as far as weekly challenges, I actually did not think of anything this week. Yes. Did I drop connection or something? What's wrong, Stacy? Or did I miss something? Mm-hmm. Am I still here? Oh, okay. I was just making sure because it was like, see, this is me paranoid of technology. The way she said it, I was like, crap, it died on me again. Stacy, yeah, actually, I do have a recipe for a non-alcoholic mead that is really good. And when I was working and helping with setting up some Norse rituals and Renaissance fairs, I would make it for people who did not drink alcohol or were recovering. So yeah, I will hit me up in Discord. I will totally share that recipe with you. It is yummy. That's a really good question because I know mead is really, really popular and people love it. But, and then there's some people who want to try and get the ideal of kind of what it'd be like. But yeah, so yeah, hit me up on Discord, Stacy, after the stream, um, and I'll dig out that recipe for you. Great question. Oh, look at this. We've been all over the map on this one. No, that's actually a great thing, Stacy. That actually might be a good thing to do a video on too. I mean, I'll get you the recipe before I do the video because it takes me forever to shoot videos. I can't guarantee how fast they'll come out, but no, now that you mention it, with the Norse series coming up, and the fact that there are people who either they choose not or can't, that would be a great way to get mead into their life. So that is awesome. Thank you for the question. I'm glad you thought of it. And it's just a base recipe, so you can even tinker with it and play with it. Yeah, it's honestly what gets people in trouble with mead more than anything is mead drinks like beer. It really does. And it acts like beer. It will foam up, it will do all the things. It in all ways it presents like beer. But its alcohol content is on par with wine. So instead of being like in that 3 to 10% range that beers are, and beers, on the high end hit like the tens, Mead hits the 16 to 20, and I've even got one mead downstairs at proof down at 25. So people drink it like they would beer without thinking about the alcohol content. Oh, happy to, Stacy. Like I said, that is actually something that needs. I think it's important. Yeah, it was an accident. Um, I used to go to Costco and buy honey, and the honey I bought was 3 pound jugs. So when I wrote my grocery list out, I wrote it out for 3 pound jugs, and I wrote out how many jugs I needed. And when I went to the store, that's what I bought. And I made the mead, mixed it up, everything. And it wasn't until the first racking of the mead that I realized Costco had changed their jugs. So for every jug, it was now 5 pounds instead of 3. So there was way more sugar and honey to ferment in there than I had planned for. So it finished off as a sweet mead with a really high alcohol content. So we actually have that box particularly marked because, yeah, you got to be careful drinking that one. It was good though. Better for sharing amongst friends. So if I could, I would. Once I figure out that whole teleporting business, I think I know what my retirement's going to be based on. So I'm considering taking a bottle of mead to my mom next time I visit. I don't think she's ever tried it. That might be one side of my work she can get behind. I know, right? Open a travel service like that, you can charge incredible amounts of money. Even a delivery service. You could even get into delivery with that. Uh, well, a straight mead usually tastes like the honey you utilize. And the honey really is the primary front flavor in most meads. Braggots and melomels differ. And that's because a braggot is a malted mead, so that malt comes forward, and a melomel is a fruit mead, or so it usually has some kind of fruit added to it, so the fruit flavors come more forward. But it's really hard to explain because you say it tastes like honey, and people's like, ew. But it don't taste like honey. It actually tastes like the subtle flavors in the honey. So if you've ever had like orange blossom honey, is real popular. It has those real floral, orangey, citrusy notes to the honey. That really transfers over to the mead when you use it. And the same thing with any other honey that you use, those flavors are going to transfer over. So it's a real subtle kind of wine-like beverage, but like I said, the mouthfeel almost tastes is more like beer to me. Only it's not carbonated. Um, so it's real hard to describe the flavor of it. Like one mead I did recently, I did actually try to do it with a Walmart honey, which it turned out good, but the honey was a blended honey and it was such a deep honey that it came out with almost like a molassesy flavor to it. But it was good. Yeah, I see that whole outer realms insanity thing might be the only loophole we got to worry about with the teleportation business. And a lot of people, when they make mead, they also use a lot of herbs and spices to kind of add flavors to it. Like I think the big one, what is it? It's called Viking's Blood Mead. The bottle's really cool, but it's seasoned with hibiscus and some other stuff. So the honey's not as forward in it. So the flavors of mead can really, really change. Hey, Will, good to see you again. And I'm glad you're enjoying the class. I've got to say, I've got nothing but good responses on that class so far. That's where the waivers come in. Here, sign this. You gotta love a waiver. Huh. You know, I've actually wanted to get a hold of some dragon's fruit and make a dragon's fruit mead because my wife loves dragon fruit, and I do too. But I've never been able to find enough of it to try and make a mead. With me particularly, or just in general with other people? Um, well, take it easy, Halloween. Um, with me, honestly, I tend to have my arcane senses open all the time. So it's pretty easy for them to just pop in and communicate with me directly. Um, that said, there are times when they will get my attention using vibrational or emotional projections, but more often they save those for specific workings. So yeah, for me, it's they usually try to use a verbal communication, or well, I should say telepathy. So the words and everything are just kind of vibrating in my head, if that makes sense. Uh, Dragon's fruit's actually it's not bitter, but it's not like a super sweet fruit either. It has a really nice mellow sweet flavor, but it's not bitter. I'd almost think like a pear or a really sweet apple is almost what I'd say it is. All you would need to do is talk with your guardian on that. Let them know that you're wanting to allow the guardian to utilize the necklace, and then the two of you would actually focus the energy to do that. So, for example, in the class, you learn to do the dragon's fire or the ritual, the dragon's flame ritual, and the dragon's fire meditation. Once you build up the energy using that meditation, start to direct the dragon's fire into the necklace and shape it so that the necklace acts as a link to, or not a link, that's actually probably a bad term. Let's say a communication device and housing area for your guardian. Um, and as long as your guardian's helping do it, you should be good to go. And the reason I say it that way is because you don't want to do anything that would the dragon might interpret as binding, because they get real upset if you try to bind them. Which I know that's not what you're going for. That's just why I'm making sure we cover that. No problem. Pretty much. My little guardians tend to not shrink unless it's car ride time. They're a bit stubborn on that. Which can be a bit problems sometimes. I mean, as Peachy will tell you, if you pay attention to the cameras and stuff, you can hear them playing with the microphones and crap. On a daily basis, I would say generally on a daily basis, just 4. Um, that'd be the 2 twins that operate as my guardian for whatever reason, my co-magician, and then there's a little red one that's a little red oriental looking one that helps me with research materials and whatnot. And like I've told you before in streams, he tends to know where my crap is better than I do. So if I can't find something, I ask him. Those are the 4 I come in contact with daily. Out above that, I'd say at least once or twice a week, I encounter 3 or 4 of the rulers. Take it easy, Stacy. Thank you for joining us. And you stay safe too. See, I won't lie. If I got to choose my guardian's size, and they're probably going to laugh at me for saying this, I would choose a smaller guardian because both of those twins are like the size of a love seat. And yeah, they get rambunctious. And when the wife's away, they also want to lay on the bed. And I know they're technically astral entities, but when you can literally feel the astral entity's presence, it still gets crowded. Well, no, I would say you shouldn't be worried, though. I will say, yeah, a lot of the dragons that do seem to present those trial and judgment concepts people think about, they do tend to come in those darker colors like purple, because you'll see a lot of purples in the Maelstrom and in Chaos Dragons. But it's not something you should worry about. They're around usually in your dreams because they're trying to break down barriers and obstacles and create that change in your life. Um, Judgment's a bad word to associate with them. It really is. Um, and I think that's a lot of the modern influences of some of the love and light people who's trying to throw that word in there. But the trials now, the trials that I can agree with because it's those trials that you encounter in your life or those rough patches, some people might call them, that as we overcome them, we change as a person, we grow as a person, and we bypass those obstacles and we come out of it a far better person and far better prepared to just progress in life in general. And that's really where the Maelstrom Dragons and the Chaos Dragons excel. And when they're doing it like in that method through dreams and whatnot, they're really kind of just barely touching that element in your life. What gets people in trouble is when they jump into those elements and they just bring that element full force on their life. It's going to create massive change very quickly, very hard. And what's worse, most people actually try to resist it. After they've called it down on them, they try to resist it. and they weren't prepared for it. That's where they get in trouble. Um, if you're following the course wheel, when you get to the Guardian Dragon section, just follow the path working exactly as it's laid out. And if that little green one is your guardian, he'll show up and he will be the one that takes the job. But it's not uncommon to have dragons following you before you get a guardian. That doesn't mean that they will be your guardian, but it's not uncommon. Yeah, like I did with the cliff off. Yes, even I am subject to the powers of stupid. But that's one of my places where I'd say arrogance and ego of working with dragons got the better of me. Because in most cases, after working with the maelstrom and the chaos element, there's not much you can throw at me that rattles me. Cliffoth showed me that there you should still be humble because there are things out there that will beat you with a ball bat, and while you're laying on the ground, they will go get a sledgehammer and start hitting you with that next. But I still benefited from it. If you remember, I still benefited from it. I just didn't do it the most responsible and intelligent of ways. Well, just follow the course and you'll find out. I mean, I do not regret my guardians. I know I make fun of the fact that they're so large and they get in the way. But honestly, I couldn't imagine my life without them anymore. Even when they dogpile on me. Actually, I'd say even while being responsible and careful, always carry the spiritual band-aids and ice packs. Yeah. I mean, my guardians do it and they actually shake the bed when they do it. But yeah, I've also had animals do it. Actually, my wife's cats that passed away, they still roam around. So they're still hanging around looking after us. They will do it. One of them even likes to wake me up. And there was a wolf for the longest time that was hanging around. I'm still convinced that was Odin's doing. So yeah, I can say I've had it happen. But I'm honestly I'm pretty open and accommodating most times because I generally feel they have a reason. Yeah, I can see if you don't have cats or dogs and you've never gotten used to animals jumping on your bed, how that could weird you out. But just like like adjusting to a large dog, I eventually adjusted to the dragons curling up on the bed. I know it's hard to wrap a head around, an astral entity presenting a physical like presence, but it can happen. It's weird. It's interesting. But ghosts do it. Why not an astral entity? Um, that's actually a tricky question. The big one to touch upon for that is most dragons don't actually like to be worshipped. But they do work well within Wicca for the people who want to practice Wicca and dragon magic. Um, but I have seen people use the elemental rulers as the rulers of the quarters, and it works really well. But the big kicker is the focus on balance, and this is one place where Wicca tends to, well, I should say most Wiccan practitioners I meet, they tend to slide off the board because they don't really focus on the balance. They focus only on the white light side. And balance requires, day and night. That would be one thing that really needs to be touched on and focused on to get the most out of the practice. Beyond that, that's a real deep question. And yeah, hit me up on Discord. If I can help you with that, I would be happy to, because it would be nice to see more draconic magic coming out and presented in that balanced light. I know a lot of people are shying away from draconic Wicca because of how it has been presented in the past. But for me, I think a multitude of viewpoints is a good thing. I really do. So I'm actually glad to hear you're doing that. That's a very interesting project. So yeah. Right now, off the top of my head, it's definitely that balance and the fact that dragons make sure they want to take that position. If you want to use them in the roles of god and goddess, make sure they're okay with it before you do it. Otherwise, put them in more of the elemental roles, focus on your balance, and work with an actual god and goddess as well, because they love working with the gods. They really do. Come on, be nice, Bernoldus. I mean, they got cookies, right? That's good. I love me some cookies. Well, it's all part of that balance. And I mean, for me right now, people are looking for that balance or at least another viewpoint. And right now, let's be honest, there's not much out there, period. So, I mean, I'm hoping that this class can actually inspire people to work with the dragons and present more paths and knowledge in the future. That's one reason I'm keeping the classes and the path working as neutral as the dragons wanted, because yeah, that's the framework for more people to be able to learn this and shape it into a personal practice and then share that personal practice. And I think that's important, because for too long there's been too many people putting a lid on practice and knowledge, and if it hasn't been done the way it's been done for thousands of years, no one wants to talk about it. But you don't learn nothing new that way. Um, well, for those who, I mean, someone approached me at work about dragon magic, and my should pursue it because they said I had dragons around me. And long story short, even the security cameras agree that guy didn't exist, even though myself and like 20 others saw him. But that led me to look into it, and I found DJ Conway's books, and I did work through those. And like most of you, they did have a very deep Wiccan light slant. And at the end of them, it just kind of comes to a dead end with, it's like the end of the road, but there's nothing there. And from there, I literally just dove into working directly with the dragons and trying to build that connection and find a way to get a deeper connection with them. And once I figured that out, I studied directly with the dragons. And yeah, everything that I teach now came straight from them. Um, so that's one reason, I love Conway's works. That's where I got my start. And I do think the dragons inspired her works. In fact, they've said as much. And it was the correct work for the time. It was the introduction, if you will. And things have grown to a point where people are more open and ready for something else. They're ready for that next level. I didn't think I would end up being the next level. That was a bit of a curveball for me. I'm still wrapping my head around that concept. But yeah. The thought has crossed my mind. In fact, you would think I would ask that question, but I never have. You know what? I'm actually going to do a ritual this week and see if I can get an answer to that question, Mathis. Because I've never thought to ask that question directly to the dragons. I've just assumed it was a dragon. And now that you say that, I almost feel stupid for not asking the question all these years. So I'm actually going to find that out. So yeah, remind me by next Friday in the stream, and I'll let you know what I found out. Yeah, I mean, her works were great for the time. They really were. And I still recommend them to people who are wanting something more in that flavor. It's just, I'll be honest, 98% of the people who come to me, they start with, where can I get information on Dragon Magic that isn't Conway? So I'm kind of painted in a corner when you ask me that question. Yep, true for the time. And times have changed and grown. And, I'm blessed to be a part of that next wave. Well, it is a good corner. We got coffee and there's usually steak. So, yeah, it's a good corner to be in. See, that's the thing. People, I consider myself blessed and honored to even be able to do the smallest bit to help. So, yeah, that's why I encourage people so much to do their own work and research, because I am hoping what work I produce will inspire others to add more to the lore in the future. So, but no, I do not regret my pursuit of dragon magic. I've enjoyed it. And, people tell me, it's hard to go from path to path. I've never had that issue in dragon magic. I can't speak for other practices because dragon magic has been my main. And no matter what path I've wanted to journey down, they've been like, all right. Well, thank you. That's sweet. Yeah, I was going to make my head so big I won't be able to get out of the office tonight. I have to sleep in the office. I've done it before, but it's usually because I fall asleep at the computer. And see, Will, I agree. It's I don't really get into we always do it this way because it's tradition. I think we should always be pursuing a forward motion. That's how we grow. Um, my students teach me crap all the time. They'll ask me questions that I just haven't thought about it. they will look at a solution or an issue from an angle I just haven't considered, and it leads to a whole new way of thinking and learning, and I love it. That's been one of my favorite parts about teaching, not just helping people, but the students teach me. You got a point there. You really do. And I'm actually really excited to be able to get all those classes up because once they're up, I'm really wanting to see what the next level is. And I'm pretty sure that next level is going to come from someone else. And I'm really excited to see what that is. Mathis, the Maelstrom Dragons will make their debut in the 103 class. The 102 class, we go from working with the first four rulers to we actually teach deeper communication and connection with dragons, as well as to how to reach out and start contacting and working with other dragons of those elements that specialize in things. So, like Torgra is a specialist dragon. So when he deals with healing and emotion and stuff, he is special. That is something he focuses on. So he's actually more skilled in those areas than Coralegra is, because Coralegra, being the ruler, covers all that on a broad topic, where the specialist can really dig in deep and get to those roots. So those specialist dragons are really important. So the 102 course, we start working with those. And that 102 course, you're going to meet, I want to say it's like 20 dragons at least in that course. And then the 103 course is when we're after you've, because once you've worked through all that, you've done a lot of work on yourself already. And that's going to prepare you for working with those higher elements. So the 103 is when we move into those other higher elements and we start path working with those. They have laid it out to make sure you don't accidentally storm the castle of a dragon you're not quite ready for. And I will say the 103 course it's panning out to be a big course. I don't think it's going to be so much hard to film so much as how they're laying it out to work with it. Because right now, if I'm understanding the layout of it the way they're wanting it filmed, it almost looks like it's going to be 101 and 102 almost combined, which is crazy. I'm trying to figure out how they're expecting that to work, but we'll see. Because so far I've taught this live one-on-one. I've never had to film it, so there's a learning curve here for me too. Yeah, I will. Yeah. The dragons are wanting me literally the entire path working. They've had me working on for 10 years. They want it all shared. So there will be a 101 all the way to a 104. And they want them to be broke up and approachable. So you can go as far as you want to go. So if all you ever want to do is work with the 101, that's great. If you want to go deeper, the 102 is there. And if you want to reach out to those higher elements, it'll be there. And then the 104, well, that goes to crazy town. But if you want to go that deep, it will be available. Nope. The Dragons just have it set up because, if I was to take everything and slam it into one course, it would be so massive I could not make it affordable. I couldn't. And one of my goals when I started this was if I'm going to do this, I'm going to make it affordable. And I want it to be affordable to the beginner and the common magician, the blue collar magician, because that's really what's out there. Most people come to magic to build themselves up. I mean, if you can afford to drop $500 to $1,000 on a class, great. You're doing better than I am. But I wanted it to be approachable. And the dragons agreed. Because if you're trying to get info out, you got to make it available. So, yeah. Well, the dragons have been pushing me for this for a while. It's been in the works. I just thought it'd take a book form. And when the video class concept hit, I panicked. But it worked. And they've really been guiding me and helping me this whole time. So, yeah, they're pushing, but at the same time, they're also helping and making sure that I can manage this. And anytime I hit a bump and can't figure something out, I go straight to them. It's like, here's the problem. How do I fix it? Yeah, I fully expect that, Ronaldus. I really do. It's like I fully expect that once this project is done, there's going to be something else they're going to throw at me. But I'm ready for it. I really am. Thank you, Will. I'm glad you think so. I really do. I appreciate it because I'll admit I worry about the videos sometimes and whether or not there's only so many times I can shoot something and edit it before I just have to bite the bullet and say send it. So I'm glad you all are happy with it. I really am. And again, like you said, everything seems to be taking a darker path aspect, which I don't mind. But I think something on a neutral road is approachable for everybody, regardless. So when I teach, no matter what I teach, I try to hit that neutral road as much as I can. Now, if and when I do a Cliffothic class, clearly that's going to have a darker leaning just because it's the Cliffoth. Um, but whenever possible, I still try to lean it neutral because if you saw my video on light and dark, magic is magic. I don't think it has a real light or dark. I think the practitioner and the path they walk kind of determines that. Which I get that from the dragons. It comes back to that balance. So, but that it tickles me pink that you all are so happy with it. And apparently, now don't quote me on this necessarily, but apparently the site we use actually has an affiliate program where I don't know how it works, but apparently if someone can, I don't know if it's, anyways, if they can get the information to people and to the site, they can actually get a commission from it. I'll have to figure out how that works. But I got so many people who's wanting to share the word, which do share the word by all means. But if I can find a way to thank you in return, I want to do that too. So I'm looking into it if it's possible. It may not be possible at the level I run the website. I don't know. Um, yeah, you can be the hub. If you look at the dragon's eye triangle at the center of the dragon's eye seal, that central point is essentially that hub, and that's actually that's supposed to represent where the magician is. So the magician's at the center, ideally. That's where the magician should seek to be most of the time. And the magician can move back and forth to the different areas as needed. Which, if you hear me talk about my practices, you've heard I've done that because like I said, I'll work with angels, I'll work with the cliff off, I've worked with the tree of life. Depending on what I'm doing, what I'm wanting to learn, where I'm studying, I'll spend different times at different places on that wheel, which I like the wheel aspect because you got the multiple spokes around it. Which, if you look at my logo, you'll see I have the dragon's eye triangle there, and I have the 8 spokes around it for that reason. So yeah, and the ideal is the bulk of your time, or at least your neutral position, is at the hub. And then based on what you're wanting to learn, what you're seeking, what you're pursuing, and what you're doing, you go to whatever area or spoke is needed. Yeah, Twilight's a great example for that. Twilight is in time of day. Specify that. I have no idea what Chromecast is. Is that like where you like dip something in Chrome and Chrome it? Which I actually have a plaque downstairs. I didn't like the color of it, so I had to refinish it. But it's a plaque of night and day, and it has a 2-headed dragon kind of serpentine through the center of it. I love that thing. Oh, I did not know that was a thing. I did not. Cool. Yeah. I do try to do a live stream, and I'm for the Patreon members every month, and those are probably going to turn into like little mini classes at some point. But I've actually considered possibly doing a class where people can sign up and pay ahead of time for a kind of a live class in a forum like this, which would be kind of neat. I just don't know what the logistics would be yet. I mean, even the consults I do, the internet can be so finicky. All right. Oh, we're almost at 3 hours. We should probably get ready to close up here. I know a lot of people's already heading to bed on me, which is fine. I don't blame y'all one bit. Real quick though, before I go, does anybody have any last minute questions that they can think of right off their head? Well, it's not so much bipolar because you're in charge of it the whole time. So you do technically you stay in that controller spot the whole time. So yeah, we're on the same page there. See, even Peachy's belling on us. Yeah, it's time to go. All right. Yeah, everybody, definitely hop over into Discord if you haven't already. Um, and I'll see y'all in there. Feel free to ask some questions. Teleport. I'm still working on that teleportation spell. Once I get it working, I'll let you know, Origin. My wife is totally riding me to get that spell working so she can teleport home from work instead of having to stay there. So you're not the only one. But yeah, This has been a blast, everyone. Thank you so much. It's been awesome and flattering. You guys have been sweet. I love it. Thank you for the compliments. You guys have been, yeah, great. I'm rambling. Uh, and if you're free, join us Sunday at 8 p.m. For the Magical Coffee Hour with me and the Linda from Caffeine and Chaos. Also, go check out her Twitch channel, people. She streams some games and they're quite funny. So you should definitely check out her Twitch and support her. She does more than just talk with me. All right, everyone. You have a wonderful night. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.